If what you're asking me is today, and I found out yesterday from Roger, that this is a deal breaker, and please let's go back to the table and see if we can bring to the board a new tentative agreement that would include this language, I'm willing to do that. But, okay, the board is under the impression, having approved the language that is in the written document right now. Now, I agree with Dave and with Lyle that do faculty who are retiring have the opportunity to work next year as an adjunct? The answer to that question is yes. Do faculty have the opportunity to work in whatever, and I'm not specifically aware of it, the normal past practice is? All right? The answer to that is yes. Is any of that written into the tentative agreement that was presented to me for my signature? The answer to that question is no. So I don't have any problem with what we negotiated. I don't have any problem with the tentative agreement that was signed by me and approved by the board at the last general meeting. I don't have any problem with the current practice, whatever it may be. I don't have any problem with the current way of paying adjuncts who are retirees, whatever that may be. I have no idea, because A, it was never presented to me until yesterday, and B, my main responsibility is not to, do the class scheduling and the hiring of faculty. I think I stand strongly behind what Lyle and Dave have said. And what Lyle and Dave have said is we will continue, okay, the practice that we always have had of the deans evaluating what sections are available and then hiring the best person for the job. Does that mean that most, if not all, retirees will have adjunct sections? It probably will. But what Lyle was also trying to say, and what the board wanted to be clear about, is that retirement is a personal financial decision, is not a joint contractual decision. Whether you decide to retire is a decision that's up to you and your family. And what Lyle was saying is that whatever the past practice, and given the fact that we're going into a budget situation in which under the rosiest scenarios, some sections are going to be reduced, what Lyle was saying, I took him to be saying, is that if you're making a decision to retire, you should not pencil in, guaranteed, that, oh, I can have this extra income for as long as I need it. You should make the decision not based on that assumption. Now, as Dave said, that's not to say that most, if not all, retirees will have the opportunity to teach as adjuncts in here. Not. The contract is silent on that now. In the past, the tentative agreement is silent on that. And if you're asking my advice, which apparently you are, because this is a completely new issue, is this not? This issue of we need to write into the tentative agreement a language that has never been there before. If you're asking my advice, I'm willing to take this back to the board, okay? But I think the board's response I'll leave that to the board, but I think we have a good agreement as it stands. That doesn't change one thing as to adjunct rights for retirees. So that's a long answer to your question, but I just wanted to come back to that. And in labor, I understand what people's responses are, but in labor contract negotiations, okay, you clearly know that it's what's written down in the contract. Okay.
We don't have a final language, so that's not defined that. Agreement, understanding concepts.
Dan, I'll grant you that, but you have many messages from these gentlemen, and you have many messages from General Counsel that have said the tentative agreement is the agreement, all other language stays the same. Now, I have that email that went to you. okay? So I want to be clear here. I totally get that you want to write new language into that tentative agreement, but it's not there now. And, you know, I just want to, there is no confusion as to the district, the board's position on this. We negotiated the retirement incentive. The district did not offer it. The faculty asked for it. And we negotiated that, and in fact, we negotiated a higher benefit than you originally asked for. So, you know, this was not the intent of this meeting to renegotiate a contract that the board has already approved and read in open session. And you were there when the board approved it. You saw the document. So I'm willing to carry that back, but I don't think that's the way the process really is the ideal process. At the same time, I completely get any colleague saying, hey, look, I just have to know whether I'm going to have a class or not. Okay? And the answer to that question is, if you're going to base your retirement decision based on whether you have to have a class, you better stay on the faculty. Okay? Because we can't guarantee it. The budget is being cut. But if you're saying, hey, look, you know, I'd like to have an adjunct section. If I can get it, great. That would be gravy. You know, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it. Okay? But I'm not counting on it. It's going to go according to the past practice that any dean has always operated in this college. There's no problem. Okay? So I'd hate to see at this, not this final stage, there's no negotiation. The negotiations concluded on January 19th, when you and I are in the room and we signed a document. And there was no language in that document on what you're talking about today. None. And the final contract language, it is incorrect. I want to correct. It is incorrect to say that the final contract language is going to be anything other than the tentative agreement that I signed and you initialed on January 19th, and a statement from our general counsel that said all other language stays the same. So I'm not quite understanding what's at issue here, unless you know, and again, so if you want to raise a new issue, because I never heard until yesterday Roger's email that this was a deal breaker, never heard from the negotiating team that this was a deal breaker issue, all right, that we can, you know, I suppose we can reopen the negotiation, but I'm not sure that that would be the best way to proceed. That, in terms of the interests of all the faculty in the college, I think our interest is to get together, and rather than do this in the open, and to get together and to see if we can come to a meeting of the minds. Maybe we can't. Because apparently what you're saying is, if had this come to my attention beforehand, and it never did, that perhaps the district's response would have been much different. But we never had the opportunity for that, or at least the board never did, because it was never presented to the board. Okay, I can tell you that because I presented the tentative agreement myself to the board, and the board asked specifically about this issue in closed session. And we told them what Lyle and Dave told you today. So anyway, I hope I can be helpful. I know there's only about 16 of us left here. And this is part of the issue here is that, you know, so many of the faculty are out there doing their jobs, and really what they need to know is what's in the contract and how it benefits student learning. You know, all the elements of the contract. We put more money into professional development and other opportunities for faculty than we ever have. Okay? And, you know, so I kind of am stumped and stymied by this discussion today. I have to be frank with you. So anyway.
Mark, I just want to say, I think you may not have been very well served by your negotiations team.
Well, you know what, Anime, you know, you can say that, but it really seems to me to be, you know, in a professional environment, okay? No matter how much I disagree with you and my colleagues, I never question your motives, and I never challenge your integrity. These two people here have the highest integrity and have been truthful every step of the way, okay? So, you know, it's unfortunate that you have to make that kind of a statement in a collegial meeting in which we're trying to explain what's in the contract. I don't get that.
Okay, and I'm going to do what I said I would do, which is assert the right of the facilitator to once again say, please do post your sticky notes and whatever else, whatever other versions of sticky notes there are, emailing, talking with colleagues. Obviously, we all do need to be part of this conversation. Thank you for coming.